Hey,
Hello and hello.
hello, and how are you? We are your doorman. We are back with a brand new episode. I am Evangelist. with me.
Steven in the building.
So look, we are here bringing you a brand new episode where we unload our thoughts because we are so into the thought process.
Right.
And not just any random thought process, right? We are into the thought process that will allow us to move forward.
Yeah.
And what validates, what allows our thought process to be relevant? Well, each of us, Stephen and I, we have decided that we're going to progress as men.
Mm-hmm.
We want to move forward. We want to gain as much as we can for the benefit of ourselves and for the benefit of our loved ones.
Right.
And so because of it, these thought processes, our thought processes are
Is it process?
absolutely
Processes?
processes, plural, the process plural. So these processes are extremely relevant.
I'll give you a quick example of a thought process that fails, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're a Chargers fan and it's Sunday night and you score a touchdown and you leave
a minute and 40
yeah.
seconds left.
And you leave them boys, my Chiefs, a minute and 40 seconds. You might as well have just restarted the clock.
That, you know what? I mean, I was excited. I was excited that Justin Herbert and
company
and the boys and Keenan Allen.
I will tell you that he was. If you were watching,
I was excited.
You would have thought that maybe, just maybe, they had won the Super Bowl. But again, they scored, and it's like I tell everybody who tells me, my thought process with the Chiefs is
until them
that
dudes,
clock says 0-0-0.
You leave them dudes too much time.
It ain't over. Because Buffalo learned the hard way. You left us 13 seconds and
there's a dangerous possibility that if you're the opponent, you're not going to win.
So that thought process, I mean, any other team, you leave a minute and 30 going up.
And it was valid. That's a valid thought process to be had. Very relevant to today's situation.
Right.
In the victory, Chargers look.
But ultimately,
brand new to the bandwagon, but I'm rooting for you.
Ultimately,
love you.
Kansas City walked out of SoFi with a 30-27 lead.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Such a disappointment. Such a disappointment.
That was
anyway,
just a quick example of how thought process can go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, who says that your thought process is relevant, is valid, right? Well, time will tell, right? Mm-hmm. As you present your thought process, others will have the opportunity to perform their rebuttals, and then the best one will rise, right? It's like, you guys ever been to? You ever seen the Quora? Quora is a platform where people ask questions, and then answers to these questions get upvoted, and then the best upvoted answer, gets so many votes and it rises to the top. Does it mean it's going to be the most relevant? Does it mean it's going to be the most efficient, the most correct, the most, who knows?
Well, I know, Wikipedia, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's still that way, but if you're looking at Wikipedia, you can add anything to a page that you search.
Yeah.
Information-wise. I mean, does it make it accurate? Does it make it true? Does it make it, if I were to go on the Rocks page, let's say, and type something disparaging?
You can manipulate.
Right. I mean, does it make it fact? Does my thought on how he became so famous?
Does it matter?
Well, I mean, he's a...
Does it matter? It doesn't matter.
He's a fraud.
What you think about my Uncle Rock?
Yeah, bro. You're just hoping for a kick down.
No, in all honesty, man, I you probably feel the same way about your people, but because Rock is a representative of the Samoan community, and he's one of the few in that elite realm.
He's a half rep though, right?
Half rep, but he's still one of the few of our people who have reached that plateau or that
right
that peak
by doing unspeakable things. But anyway, so the thing is, my whole point was anybody can go and type up something on the internet, right? It's just if you and I were to read something, you and I are learned enough to not just read it and take it as gospel, right?
Right.
You read something like the Paul Pelosi story example.
Right.
You read it and
you see, wow, two men in underwear holding hammers.
Right.
This doesn't seem like a burglary. This does not seem like.
But again, you and I.
One guy looking to kidnap anyone. It looks like two guys
it
looks like two guys who were in a
lover's quarrel.
In an agreement.
Uh-huh.
They were in an agreement at one point where one
you open the door,
one guy invited the other guy, and they both ended up in their underwear.
Like in the beginning, it was, "Hey, David. Hey, Paul." At the end, Paul was like, "Can you get out?" And David was like, "I'm not going anywhere." And then Paul was like, "Well, we got a problem.
We have Houston. We have a problem."
Right.
He was like,
but again, that story. That story comes out, and if
he's like a security who I asked to take a break.
Hey guys, I know I sent you away, but can you come back?
Can you come
this
back?
Guy won't leave.
Yeah.
He's eating all my Cheetos.
This is not fun anymore.
But if you look at the timeline of that story, it was in the morning. I woke up, I had that notification on my phone, and I know well enough that I'm not going to read something and go and call Evan and be like, "Hey, did Paul Pelosi got robbed?" Because by the end of that same day, there was so many different unanswered questions.
Right.
And Dan Bongino always says, apply the Bongino method. Hear a story, you wait 48 to 72 hours, because that's usually when you get the meat of the story.
Right.
And then after all the different articles and different stories come out, then you develop your opinion.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely correct. But I would like to say, I'd like to point out, we jumped on that story less than 24 hours after the release of it, and we were pretty spot on.
Yep.
Why were we spot on? Because we didn't believe.
Yeah.
We don't practice the sheep mentality that hears something, right, and automatically accepts what it is we hear. We're always questioning. We're always, and I don't want to say that we're naysayers. Or, I don't want to say that we're skeptics.
But we are.
I mean, but you got to apply.
Actually, you know what? Realists.
You've got to apply a certain amount of skepticism to things, right? So, we do what we do, and we apply that skepticism and say, you know what? Two guys holding hammers,
right,
in underwear,
2:00 in the morning,
2 to 3 a.m.
Welfare check. Where was security? No alarm. Oh, and then you find out.
Mind you, this is the home of the third in command, right? This person is not the first,
third in line to be president.
Third in line to take the responsibility as president.
Like, she can't be on a plane
United States
with Biden and Harris at the same time,
right?
Because if they go down,
right,
I believe it goes to the janitor. I'm not sure how the list goes, but
we're not going to go that far and say janitor.
Although the janitor would probably be better.
So look, listen, we've painted you guys a picture. We painted you guys a picture of how the thought process works, how when applied, it can be applied correctly. It can be applied and create like an efficient mode of thinking, and I think we've done a very good job. So let's move on. So we've got plenty to talk about. We've got plenty to shout out today. I definitely want to give a shout out to the We Fobs podcast. They had me on this week. Again, two Usos that are just looking to shine the spotlight on the Samoan people and what it is we're doing. Of course, I am Samoan. My boy here is Mexican.
Wish I was.
He's a Latino.
Yeah.
representing for that Latin.
I just want to shout them out
Deal.
too because actually they said my name twice.
Yeah, right.
They did. I mean,
And they did it. You know, they're just
fantastic
loving
gentlemen.
brothers.
I mean,
decided to-
Evan was just like, and Steven, and then me, and they're like, whoa, pump the brakes.
They're like,
Pump the brakes.
hold
Evan.
on.
We
we gotta clarify who Steven is.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, didn't I leave the correct implications though? I said, hi, I am evangelist, one half of the Norman podcast.
And I will tell you that the thought process of mine was.
Who was the other half? Yeah, okay. I should have.
And they did it. And they
did a fantastic job. These guys are they're on top of the game, right? So we Fobs, I appreciate you guys having me on. Appreciate you guys shining the spotlight on what we're doing. Fantastic.
Thank you very
we had a
much.
great time. I had a great time.
I was just waiting to hear my name. Thanks, we Fobs.
Anyway, so we were deciding what can we speak on today. What kind of thought process can we provoke out there? What can we pull from you? What can we?
Because we come on here all the time, and it seems that we always maybe repeat ourselves.
Sure.
But I mean, we're only repeating ourselves because the thought process applies to everything in your like day-to-day doings.
Absolutely.
So if you listen to us and you think, well, they said that last week, we're just giving you examples of how our thought process works.
Very consistent.
Yeah. I mean, if we're repeating ourselves, then we're at least we're consistent.
Yeah. And we look to be consistent, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't look to be, on one subject matter and about one extreme one day and then,
Right.
On the opposite side of the spectrum the next week.
Right.
We want to be consistent. We want to let you know that, hey, our thought processes have been, we spent a lot of time on it. We've definitely lived enough to hold very consistent, very strong thought processes.
Right.
But yeah, so we look to lead you, hopefully encourage, influence,
Right.
motivate a certain thought. We're definitely on the conservative side. So
Yeah. So we're automatically assholes.
I wouldn't say assholes. I
well,
would say that we
we're not,
we're consistent with certain traditions.
But people always assume when you say conservative, they automatically assume that you're anti everything because you're conservative and you have conservative values and you want things to go back to what normal was. But what normal was, I'm not sure if it will ever be again.
Sure. Again, like we pointed out last week, right? Certain things happen. Certain events happen, and then if these events are big enough, then as a population or as a group, you move through that event, and hopefully on the other side, maybe it gets better. Maybe it gets better. Maybe you hold some of the more valuable ways of being, from the times prior to the event, and hopefully those more solid traditions land on the other side of that event. That's the hope, right? Is it always going to be the case? Nah, it's not always going to be the case. No. But it's the hope, and that's what we hope to.
So our general topic this week is when is unification?
When is unification wrong?
Right, wrong.
When does it leave you wanting? When does it leave? When does it leave a bad impression, or a bad mark, or a bad scar on any situation?
Well, right? I think we're looking at situations, daily, almost hourly, really, if you think about it. But like unification, we're talking about when certain people want to unify the nation, right?
Right.
That kind of goes as far as gender reassignments.
How about let's give it another potential name: inclusivity. Right. Where does inclusivity go wrong?
Right.
Where does it steer us in the wrong direction.
Well, it's now, right? I mean, I had this conversation. I was in Hemet today. Saw my grandparents, my mom, my aunt. And, they're in from Texas.
Okay.
So we were talking about it, and it's, for the first time, I think, in a long time, the Dodgers, when mid-season, were one of the few teams that on their logo or their shirt or their jersey, the letters were rainbow colored to show support for the LGBTQTMZ, whatever the fuck it is now. Yeah, to show support. And I turned that game on that day, and every single banner, sponsor, anything they had, the logo was changed to rainbow as well. Now, I understand why they do it as a league, because you don't want to be perceived as a league that doesn't accept, right?
Right.
But if it was so accepting and was so easy to be open in baseball, why are there so many people that are afraid to come out if they're major league athletes and in fact not straight? Same thing in football. People do it in football, but they retire for 2 years, and then they say it afterwards.
Right.
But if it's so, it's almost pandering when teams do that kind of shit. It's almost like, well, look what we're doing, so we don't get into any sort of hot water for not doing it.
Right.
And then if you don't follow that rule, if you're a player, those 3 players on the Tampa Bay Devil Rays that didn't want to wear the hat that had the rainbow symbol because their Christian values didn't allow them to see that perception, so they were suspended, they were labeled bigots, and Well,
let's talk about where interests of one group don't align with the inclusivity concept, right? So, okay, we've seen organized religions, Christianity, the Islam. We can even bring other branches of Christianity into it, and Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses.
When I was in high school, it was almost cool to change to be Mormon.
Sure. Okay.
You know what I mean? And I didn't never do it, and I didn't understand why people would.
I had plenty of Mormon friends that I went to school with, and then we'd get in these awesome debates and anyway. But so let's talk about all these different religions and the different branches of Christianity, and how by the sheer participation and the dedication to these religions or religious beliefs, this inclusivity would not be tolerated. Right? Because of the rules and regulations tied to these specific organizations, right? I mean, does the world have to practice this extreme inclusivity in order to function? No.
I think now that if you don't, like I said, then you're anti whatever the flavor of the month is.
Sure.
And nobody wants to be that. I mean, I've used this example before, and Jacob Blake.
Okay.
The NFL jumped all over that before anybody knew anything about this guy.
They even put that guy on on some helmets.
On their helmets.
Right.
Well, they put his full name, Jacob Blake.
Wow.
They had standouts or holdouts or whatever because another black man was shot by the police, not knowing the full story.
Right.
And
not knowing he was a criminal.
Right. And again,
not knowing that he was assaulting,
rapist,
a woman,
restraining order, violation of, resisting arrest, pulled a knife on the cops.
So the inclusivity, the inclusivity stamp was prematurely launched on this situation, and they decided to,
But again, when they
virtue signal.
Exactly.
Right.
When they used their thought process and thought, oh shit, we backed the wrong horse, it just went away.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the name was removed.
There was a quick abandonment of it.
Yeah.
Right.
And the same thing with I don't know exactly what the movie is that Kyrie tweeted about. Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what it was. I think the title was like Jewish mafia in Hollywood or something. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
No
But
shit.
he tweeted about it, and everybody was, just enraged that he was promoting an anti-Semitic film.
Okay.
And I don't think he was like, go check out this film, it's dope. I think he was just reiterating maybe a line from it or a quote from it, and the league suspended him.
Okay.
And then the league said, you have to do this, and this in order to come back.
Okay.
So they interviewed him the next day, and he wasn't apologetic, as he should have been in their eyes. So they're like, oh, he's not apologetic, so let's uphold the suspension, and that's that. And now he's got to go through all sorts of...
Let's speak on these situations, right, where these two individuals, Kyrie Irving and Kanye West, they've been pretty much demonized for whatever situation they've recently come out about, right?
Right.
So first off, both of these individuals have been highlighted within the recent past.
For speaking their mind.
For speaking their mind, but one of them about the COVID situation, and then the other one about backing Donald Trump, right?
Right. Well, that was, Kanye.
So Kanye was the guy backing Donald Trump, and the other one was COVID.
Yeah, but Kyrie just didn't want the vaccine.
Right. So both of these guys were highlighted, and we can narrow it down to anti-woke, anti-left policies. Both of these situations.
Right.
COVID was a huge left policy, and the anti-Trump thing it's definitely something that aligned with leftist beliefs. Right?
Yeah.
So both of these guys within recent past have been demonized by the left, and then so another reason for left side thinkers, to pounce on them have risen up. So these guys spoke against Jewish control, right? And then so we got to ask ourselves, were these two individuals wrong in their recent rants and their recent expressions? Viewpoints and expressions. Were they wrong? I personally, I would say maybe they're wrong in the style in which they both expressed it, right? Because I remember I heard one podcaster, it was Lex Friedman. Lex Friedman said, "Hey, why don't you name these individuals instead of encompassing an entire group, whether it be a cultural group, whether it be a religion? Why don't you highlight the individual names and say, hey, these people run these different organizations?"
Yeah.
Right. So I thought, okay, you know what? That's a point. Instead of throwing a big lasso out there and just scooping a group of people and saying, let's demonize this group of people, why don't you individualize your expression and say, hey, this person and this person and this person and this person, they're running things, and they're running things terribly.
Well, Kyrie is now almost, an unsignable player in the league in this current woke culture.
Wow.
You look at players back in the day like Karl Malone. Didn't want to play on Team USA because Magic Johnson was on Team USA and didn't want to get AIDS.
Wow.
He was vocal about it. But you know what? At the end of the day, he didn't get his way. They still played, and they won the gold. Yeah. So, you're allowed to express your opinion and not be demonized for expressing your opinion. But nowadays, and what happened to the veil of protection on mental illness? Kanye West is fucking nuts. That dude is
wow,
not.
Don't you think that's kind of a cop out?
No, that's my whole point. Though, like the guy that ran over all those parade goers in Christmas last year, right? Right. What was the first thing? The first thing they said, "Oh, he's crazy." Oh, okay, so you can just get away with it?
Right.
Perfect. He's nuts. That's fine. He ran down 37 people. That's cool. Oh, he's crazy though? That's fine. Let him go. But I mean, he got sentenced this last week, and I think he's got like 6 consecutive life sentences, which is good. He should be locked up. He should get ass fucked every day of his life. But anyway, the issue is that the first initial protection was he's not right in the head.
Right.
But if your thought process goes against the narrative, you have no protection. You're just a mouthy guy who is spouting hate.
Right.
Kanye West. You're just a guy who can't be controlled, spouting hate. Kyrie Irving.
Right.
You know, and long gone are the days that players will be picked up because they can help you win titles.
Yeah.
Long gone are those days. And, you know, you look at, again, athletes from back in the day, like the Albert Bells in baseball, the, who was it in Brian Dawkins football, Ed Reed in football, Karl Malone basketball, Larry Bird basketball. Those guys that are allowed to say something and use their status to be able to express their opinion and not be canceled. Those days are gone. Because you have no. If LeBron James came out tomorrow and said, "You know what? I agree with Kyrie. He is gone in everybody's eyes. Gone. 100% canceled."
Okay. So the point I was making though was, could it have been done better by the two of them? Probably.
Absolutely.
Right. Could have been. But I believe that because they have fallen on one side, right? So the current narrative is, let's say this is the current narrative.
Accept.
Right? This is the current narrative. And then you've got two sides and we'll call them left and right. Those are the two sides. So because these two individuals fall on a specific side, and the people running this current narrative falls on the other side, these two individuals have been demonized.
Right.
Right? Kanye West and Kyrie Irving have been demonized. So the side opposing these two individuals have decided to go the extra mile to cancel them out.
Right.
And that's the danger that's currently in existence. Right? You have to fall on the right side.
Right.
And in this case, it's the left side. You have to fall on the left side in order to be safe from this type of treatment.
Well, what happened to, Kanye's kindness when George Floyd was killed, and he said he'd give $5 million to George Floyd's daughter for college.
Sure.
And now she's suing him for $250 million.
Sure.
I mean,
again,
greed.
So all of every human sin is on display in this situation, right? So because the greed of this woman, because of the greed of these people, or because of the hatred and frustration of these people, and again, when I say these people, it's the people who are touting this leftist narrative, who want to, bash Kanye as an individual, bash Kyrie as an individual, right? Because that's the case. We're just experiencing, or we're just seeing how it unfolds and how dangerous it is for those who hold opposing viewpoints, right? If you're holding opposing viewpoints to this specific side, you are in absolute danger of not being accepted, of being blacklisted, and you're in danger of your reputation being just demolished.
Well, especially if you have a point, right?
Right.
If you have a valid or a leg to stand on in a conversation. I know you don't like to bring it up, but it's like that pinhead that we talked to at Irisher that night. Zero legs to stand on.
Right.
It was just opinion.
Just
with no fact to back it up.
Emotion.
Exactly. And when you have people that are making decisions, long-term decisions based on emotion, I mean, they always say don't go to bed mad, don't drive mad, don't make decisions when you're upset. Where'd all that shit go when it comes down to, making a valid thought as what is going to be your future? You know what I mean? It's just like, it's whatever's the coolest thing, right?
Yeah.
Whatever the cool thing is, you got to be a part of it, and if you're not, you're an asshole.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Guys, I mean, I think we live in a new time. We live in a time where, I mean, of course, popular opinions exist. Of course, but at one point, these popular opinions kind of made sense. At one point, these popular opinions had to do with, hey, we live here in America, so popular opinion is going to be pro-American. Right? Or, hey, we live in a free society. Popular opinion is going to be pro-freedom. Right? No longer the case. No longer the case. Popular opinion.
Gone are the days.
Gone are those days. Popular opinion has more to do with this specific narrative. And the narrative, I definitely, we both have to highlight the fact that this narrative is anti-freedom. It's anti-individual sovereignty, individual power, right? It's more along the, hey, let's encompass the sheep. Let's if they're within the sheepfold, moving in the direction of the rest of the sheep, then we love it. And if not, if they're trying to veer off, well, let's kill that sheep.
Well, because if we don't, right? If they don't scoop up the sheep on their side, I mean, then God forbid those sheep have their own opinions.
Sure.
And God forbid those sheep have a thought that says, you know what, we're not going in a good direction right now.
Real quick, off the subject, speaking of being voted out of office.
Pelosi. Bye-bye.
I mean, not that she's been voted out of office, but she's already declared she will not be running for the next term. Oh, blessed.
Maybe she should stay home and make sure her
thank
not suddenly
the Lord. Thank the Lord. We, prayers are real. Prayers can be answered. Thank you, Nancy Pelosi, for choosing to step away. Right.
Well, I think she did before anybody could start really digging into what happened at her house. I mean, think about it. If you got a DUI, and you and me go to jail for that.
Yeah.
This dude got to drive his shit home.
He didn't.
So, hey, Mr. Pelosi, just maybe follow us home.
And he happens to be one of the more successful investors
weird
in recent history.
Weird. I wonder how, though.
Some say more successful, more accurate, more efficient than a Warren Buffett.
Well, I mean, it's easier when you have insider information.
Holy shit. This guy is, next level.
I mean, insider.
Anyway.
And right.
Yeah, I mean, look, listen, we don't want to pounce on these same subjects that we do, but we just can't, you just can't avoid.
It's just so right in front of you.
Right.
Like, if you opened your eyes and didn't look at things through your veil of hatred for anything that has anything to do with Donald Trump, you'd see that they're just, I mean, they have their whole arm up your ass working like a puppet.
And speaking of Uncle Trump, he has announced his candidacy. He has announced his willingness to run.
How do you feel about that?
President. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to think about.
I don't know. I do think, is Trump divisive? Absolutely. Absolutely divisive, right? Did he do fantastic things while being president, while in office? He did fantastic things, right?
Yeah.
But are we willing to battle it out with anti-Trumpers for another 4 years? I don't know.
I don't know if they have the balls to do it again.
I don't know. No, believe me, anti-Trumpers are out there, and they're willing to fight, right?
Well,
because the fight, the motivation for the fight is strictly emotion. Strictly emotion.
Right, but when it gets down to brass tacks and shit or get off the pot, they're not down for that. Because you can only argue with somebody so long with them saying, he's a jerk.
Yeah.
That's not a valid point.
He's a racist.
Yeah.
He's a white supremacist.
He's taken down by the pussy.
Right.
Okay, you find a recording of me. You find a recording of me in high school football locker room. I might have said some same shit.
Right. I mean, not to justify anything, but boys will be boys.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, geez, it's crazy that people, as we said, are so emotional.
Yeah.
When it comes to important things, like, I mean, it's something as basic as, people who don't shop at Walmart. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like you have a hatred to Walmart because it's associated with I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it's associated with. So you drive way out of the way to go to a Target, and you could have saved the money on gas on the Walmart's right behind your house, but you won't go because of whatever. You know, that's the most basic laydown model of what I can think of to compare it to. But when you are so emotional and you put somebody who's ill-equipped in every way to make major decisions.
Yeah. And then you watch the ill-equipped person.
Yeah.
And you watch the mode of operation. You watch the way in which this person is obviously in need of some type of help.
Right.
Right? Just help operating in life.
Yeah.
Like when you're turning to people, shaking hands of ghosts and people who aren't there, or wandering off in a direction where you're not supposed to go.
And the Easter Bunny has to put you in the right direction.
And someone else, some outside factor, has to put you in the into the right direction. And this person is leading our
running
country.
the free world.
Running the free world, right?
Dude can't button his pants.
It's bananas. It's crazy.
But, you know, it's a model, right? It's a model that they've laid out. Like, Biden can do it. And look what happened. Fetterman. Dude is a fucking drooling idiot.
Right.
And
why? Because they both fall in line with the sheep.
Right.
They fall in line with the
they're controllable, right?
Popular.
They're moldable.
Yeah, they're in line with the popular narrative.
Right.
Because that's the case, these guys are like given kudos. They're cheered on. They're like, yo, you guys go.
Well, if you don't think that
like, you don't want brilliant running the show, you want
I mean, Fetterman's wife is running that show.
Right.
This is the woman who wanted to turn the governor's mansion pool into a community pool because swimming is racist.
It's racist.
I mean, I don't even know.
Is that the craziest thing you've ever heard? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
It's one of the craziest things I've ever heard.
Right. I thought, wow, what is going on in today's world?
I mean, it's that.
That is the case.
It's that, and when people say the Chargers will beat the Chiefs.
Oh, shit.
Just crazy. Hey, shout out to
the
Raiders won today.
Hey, no way. Hey, listen, I never thought my Chargers were going to do any better than they did against the Chiefs. But it was great to see you try.
You guys are at 500. I mean, that's pretty good.
I mean, but it was great to see them, you know. Come on. Keenan Allen.
I mean, we're literally running away with the division. And you just have to fight it out with Denver and Oakland. I mean, Oakland's...
I mean, but look who you have, man. You guys got... I mean, your defense doesn't shine often.
This year it does.
It doesn't shine off. No, you guys are involved in some shootouts. Right?
Our defense
where your defense is like, we don't really need to step it up.
We had guys that were hurt.
Mahomes is just gonna trash our opponents.
We had 2 corners that were hurt for the first 6 games. Maybe it's not an excuse, but we get them all back. Our defense is. I mean, how we end the game today?
Oh, Chris Jones.
Knockdown pick.
Yeah, but Chris Jones and that pressure. My man is in your face.
Yeah. But
goodness,
you know anyway, the issue with the mold that kind of terrifies me a little bit is that they can find anybody who's moldable, and it seems to be people who have either age restrictions or mental capacity.
Back to the dummies.
Yeah,
back to the dummies. Yeah,
and it's just.
I mean, it's everyone has to see it. There is a specific side that the elite group or the group of elites want you to side with.
Well, it's the instant gratification, right, that we always talk about. You don't want Dr. Oz in there.
No.
Fetterman wins, and you're like, oh, Dr. Oz lost. You don't think that for the next 2 years, this drooling, mumbling buffoon is going to be making decisions for your state. I mean, that's just the bottom line. This guy's no fucking idea where he's at. Good night, everybody. At the start of a speech, he goes to a rally in Philadelphia, saying the Eagles are better than the Eagles. What the fuck are you talking about? That kind of shit. It's mind numbing how blind people are. And it's just like, well, But he got voted in. I mean, I don't know. There's, reports that some guy got arrested for voter signature fraud. So I don't know where that's going to go, but probably nowhere.
It's almost like the sympathy for a person trumps
necessity.
It trumps the merit of a person.
Well, it trumps the need for somebody strong, right?
Yeah.
Like
if you can empathize with his needs,
right?
It's horrible, man. I don't know, man. I don't. You want people who can do the job in the place to do the job.
But you don't want people that you're second guessing. You're sitting on your couch at home and there's something across the bottom of the TV that says, the National Guard called into Pennsylvania because it's in a state of emergency, and you're like, what happened? And this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
So then
and
the
he can't
federal government steps in.
He can't articulate what the emergency was.
Mm-hmm. He'll go to a press conference and be like,
good night.
Good afternoon, everybody. The state of emergency is that the Eagles
are better than
ran out of cheesecakes. And you're like, what?
Oh, wow.
But not knowing that there's an actual, like, maybe there's some sort of invasion going on. But you don't know because you won't even know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, crazy.
Extreme example, okay? That's an extreme example. Please in no way think that we are saying that there's an attack happening in Pennsylvania, because that's not what we're saying.
That's not.
Fucking assholes. That's another thing too. Like, why do you have to preface things now? Like before, there was humor, right? There was joking. There was the Dennis Millers. Yeah. There was the Sam Kinnisons.
Oh man,
but there was no.
I miss guys like that.
Yeah, they would be crucified.
Raw dogs,
right?
Just raw dogs. I mean, but again, there was a move to create this political correctness, and then there was a wave against it, and then I think the division began when the wave for it or the move for it was fearful that the wave against it was going to be too much for them to handle, right? So this division of political correctness, for and against, is a real thing.
It's also too, like, again,
it's huge,
like
so bad.
Gone are the days of like we said, normalcy, right? But what was normal? I guess. I mean, that's maybe a question we should ask ourselves. What was normal back in the day?
Yeah.
What we were used to. People feeling the need to hide things. Maybe that's not normal, but it's 100% not normal that it's in my face and I have to accept it or else.
But that's, you know what? Normal. We always use police officers, to really, drive the point home, right? So at one point, police authority was understood. There was two sides of that line, and you knew what side was on what, right? If you were doing wrong, right, and that police authority, the line of police authority existed, then you knew that you were on one side of it, and it was the penalties were understood.
Unless you lived in Rampart in 94.
Yeah, again, even those guys, even that day, even that era, right? They knew there were two sides, right? There was the law and the badge, and then there was on the other side, right? But you understood, right? I wasn't necessarily on the side of the badge and the law, right? But I understood that what I was going to do or what I was doing meant a consequence. That there was a consequence. I stood on their side. There was no blur of the line. There was no question as to what was going to happen. You understood, right?
Right.
Today, it's like everything is accepted. There is no line anymore.
Well, it's not even a blur, right?
There's not even a blur. It's just a big gray, not even a stripe. Because a stripe would be too definitive.
The line is gone.
You can see it, right? It's just this gray dust sprinkled up in the middle, right?
Falling from the air.
Right? Nothing exists. Nothing matters. Nothing means anything anymore.
That was a good simile I just put out there.
A mist.
Falling. The mist in the Amazon on a January morning on a toad.
What a picture, my man. Huh? But anyway, there's no definitive lines.
Yeah.
It's like definitive lines are hated. Hated so much that they're like, no, that's too definitive, man.
Oh, it's not inclusive, right?
It's not inclusive.
It's not inclusive.
No. We got to include everybody.
Right.
No, dog. No. There's got to be clear structures to rest on,
Uh-huh.
clear things to see, and lines where you can tell, like guardrails. Like,
Right.
this is going to allow me to stay on the right side of the guardrail, and this is off
You know what's a
guardrail, and you're going to fall over the edge.
a blanket example of what we're trying to provide?
What's that?
The median in the freeway.
Absolutely.
It splits the north and southbound 405.
Absolutely.
You take that away, what happens?
Crashing,
Right.
accidents, death,
I mean,
destruction.
massive. Because there's going to be some asshole that's
Right.
going to think it's okay to be in a rush and leave the southbound side to get on the northbound side to go around people.
Right.
And then get just blistered by a semi truck.
Yeah. People can't drive as is. Right? People can't drive as is.
Should we get back to the little part we do of our show that what grinds our gears? Because driving really chaps my ass. But anyway, yeah, it's just like Evan said, like lines are gone. There's no right and wrong.
There's no guiding.
There's no upward movement. Like we are stagnant in a bowl of shit right
because
now.
people want to erase
Right.
what things mean. Right? Like meaning is a social construct.
Right.
And then so we can erase it in the name of convenience, in the name of impulsive behaviors.
I had this discussion with my family today also, like, everything's interpretive, right? So I use the example of old Disney movies like Dumbo, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella. Anybody can sit 100 years later and dissect that movie from start to finish, pause, make a video on this part is sexist or homophobe or racist or bigot or whatever. But in the time, and you think of the audience that movie focuses, right? Even as an adult, like my mom said, even as an adult, what they're trying to say happens in Dumbo. You don't realize as an adult until it's brought up to your front door. As a child, you don't even think the crows are racist characters. You just think they're funny crows who talk a little bit of shit. Maybe they're sarcastic. You don't even associate those crows with Southern people.
Right. I think what happens is that weak-minded individuals will go back to times when they were more vulnerable, because weak-minded individuals are vulnerable, but they'll go back to a time when they were even more vulnerable, and they'll nitpick at these stupid ideas, right? That they blame for causing or manipulating their vulnerability, right? Mind you, they're weak-minded in their current, more mature state, but at one point in their immature state, they were even more manipulative, or able to be manipulated.
You know what's another good example of those Nostradamus prophecies, right? That dude wrote those prophecies in when? The 1500s?
Sure.
Long time ago, right? Before anybody knew what anything was. So now, in the year 2022, some dickhead in college can go over those writings, and his interpretation of what Nostradamus was saying is now,
I mean, these things are so vague, right?
And
you
that's
can
the thing.
apply anything to
It's like a psychic, right?
Yeah. Well,
So, I mean, there's a little bit of truth to everything, a little bit of fact to everything. So when a psychic tells you when you go in to get a reading and they're like, "Oh, you're miserable," well, no shit, who isn't? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Or, "Oh, you're looking for something." Well, duh. Like what? And then, but if you're weak-minded, like you say, you're like, I'm looking for something.
You're so captivated by what's
I am looking for something
to you, right?
I am lost.
Yeah. And it's crazy. These things have the ability, these narratives, these suggestions have the ability to just send someone in a tailspin, throw somebody in a specific direction, and we just have to
It's almost subliminal,
understand.
Right? It's almost subliminal messaging.
Yeah. Well, it's subliminal. It's subliminal for those who have the ability, or who have the potential of being manipulated.
Right.
That's where the subliminal messages and things have the potential of being effective.
Right.
Right.
Well, did I tell you what Netflix is doing with their subtitles?
What? Oh yeah.
That's just
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
to me.
But you know what? We're not going to be here like, oh my God, did you see how it caused me to think of these people as less than or have
we're not weak-minded, but
no.
I mean the fact of the matter is how many people watch Netflix, and it's just
we can definitely comment on the efforts that they're
yeah.
taking.
I mean, it's consistent that they're trying to push it, right?
Yeah.
It's consistent that they're trying to push the agenda of slavery was bad. Well, again, no shit.
No,
it's definitely a skid mark on the history of the United States. Nobody's saying that it was warranted. Nobody's saying that it was justified. It was wrong. It's 100%. But you don't need to constantly talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, him and I have faced some sort of racism in our lives.
Sure.
And we don't run to the news networks, and we don't run to Twitter or TikTok or Instagram and post a hate video about whatever we've done. And mainly because we're old and we didn't have that when we were younger.
Well, mainly because we understand.
And it's also, you don't have to.
Mainly because we understand. We definitely understood what side of the fence I sat on. Mm-hmm. What side of things I was put on. Right? So I'm the majority of my heritage is Pacific Islander, as I've
what?
touted in the past.
I didn't know.
Right? And I understand that this was a country designed by Europeans. I wouldn't say it was designed for Europeans, but it was designed by them. Right?
Exactly.
So because it was designed by them, of course there were a lot of bias practices that work best for them, right? But we have enjoyed the benefits, the perks of this design, right? So because we have enjoyed the perks of it, and we understand and we see because of our studies, because of our thought processes applied, that there are other perks and there are disadvantages as well, right? These are the things that happen, right? We're not gonna cry.
We all are where we are because of what was laid down before us.
Absolutely.
Whether it's our family values, virtues,
but we don't cry.
The past. No, absolutely not.
We don't cry.
What's the point? We don't use crutches.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I mean, again, I had this discussion. I took Shelby to Hammond today, and we were on the way to drive because that's all you can do. That's all you can do on the way to Hammond is talk.
But you took it to Hammond
and stop.
I'm serious.
And stop for food and water twice. But anyway, we were talking about how people use crutches, right? Like it's. I've used the example before. Like people get married because divorce exists, right? You start a major because you can always change it. You go into a job because it's at the time the money's decent and you can always get another one. You start dating somebody because they're there, it's lonely, whatever, right? There's so many different crutches you can use. Oh, I didn't have this growing up, so I'm gonna be this way. I didn't have that when I was in school, so that's why I don't have a degree. Blah 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 blah. Like bitch. But I always make the joke, like anybody can identify as anything, right? I identify as a millionaire. Who's giving me money? Right?
Hey.
I mean, shit.
I too.
Yeah, we identify as gazillionaires.
We are the richest men on earth. I want to identify as that.
I want to identify as that. So if somebody pay me, or I'm gonna go to CNN and say that the state of California is racist. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's almost crazy. It's like, again, the Redskins have to change their name, right? The league sues some white girls offended at the Redskins name. They got to change their name to the Commanders. Yeah. I'm offended at the Cleveland Browns because it offends my people.
The Browns.
Right. I'm literally shocked that nobody's done that.
Brown pride.
Or maybe they have, and the league's like, come on, that's a stretch. Get the fuck out of here. The Browns are terrible. You're going to sue them? You know what I mean? Yeah. They've had a quarterback in 27 years. You're going to sue this team?
Bring Jose.
That might have been the last decent one they had. God.
Easy.
But anyway, it's just like people use crutches or outs because they're there. You don't go into situations anymore trying to make the best of it, trying to come out the other side of it. You go into situations using the crutch. You go into the situation using the fact you had a bad day. You go home and you kick your dog because you had a bad day. It's like, it's not that you did anything to, perpetuate your bad day.
No.
You did everything to not change that. You let it affect your entire outcome.
So guys, I mean, you know why we're here. You know why the Dormant exists. We are here to
talk shit and eat musubis.
Talk shit, okay? Talk shit. But eventually, we hope that enough of this talking shit and our directing you, influencing you into another direction, causes there not to be so much shit to talk about.
Right.
Right? That's the idea. We want everyone to get a hold of these ideas and say, we can practice something better.
And if you come to the same conclusions, at least you did using a thought process. At least you came to it using your own.
Instead of this impulsivity that's being...
Instead of TikTok guiding your life. This is terrible.
Man shall not live by TikTok alone.
It's in the Bible, right?
Yeah, I think so. So guys, man, look.
Nostradamus predicted TikTok would be the end of the world.
And I don't get how people don't understand, right? TikTok is a Chinese company, right? The Chinese version of TikTok exists, and they are not allowing the stupidity on their version to exist as it exists in the American version.
Right. Because they're dumbing us down.
They are pushing you to continue these stupid things.
Which is unfortunate.
The stupidity.
I mean, I don't have TikTok anymore.
Damn, I
got the new phone and I just didn't put it on there.
Good for you. Good for you.
And I got rid of Apple.
Absolutely.
It's made in China. My phone's made in South Korea, I think.
Absolutely.
Or Japan.
Samsung.
Yeah.
Hey, so, whoever it is making Samsung. Sponsor.
Unless they want to sponsor us, then we'll change.
Right.
Because then we'll be sheep like the rest of you, right?
Hey.
Want to talk about our weekends real quick?
Hey. Fantastic weekend. Go ahead, you first.
I went to my first concert ever in the history of my life.
Round of applause for Steven and his very first concert in his life at age 41.
41. Now,
first concert ever.
I don't go to concerts because I as you guys know, we were bouncers for a lot of years. I don't like being in crowds that I cannot control. So I don't go to concerts because you can't control that crowd. Right. But this concert, my back was against the wall. There's nobody behind me. I could enjoy the front. Yeah. So I may have screwed myself though, my first concert. Why? Because the next concert I go to better have multiple people on stage or I'm going to feel like I got ripped off.
I mean,
I saw Exhibit, Baby Bash, Sugar Free.
On the stage together?
Well, no, they're all at different times, but it's part of the lineup, right? Yeah. So Sugar Free, the Dog Pound, Warren G, Cypress Hill, Bone Thugs and Harmony. That's it.
Damn.
Bone, all 5 of them.
Damn.
For the first time in 10 years.
It's the first of the month.
Man.
And then we're having a wonderful day.
Thuggish Ruggish Bone.
Oh, boy.
I was like, I went back to high school.
Man.
So, and then to end it all, the king himself, Ice Cube, came out.
The king himself, wow.
Blew the
giving him the king title.
Well, and also they're doing a thing called the Mount Westmore.
Okay.
It's Snoop, Cube, Too Short, and E40.
Yes, sir.
So they played a music video of this is a song called Too Big. Now, parents, moms, don't listen to it. It's like the rap of the
wildly
90s.
offensive.
It's the rap of the 90s. They're all back to
it.
So,
no PC.
Nope. But it's out now, Mount Westmore. I've already downloaded it.
All right.
But yeah, that was my first concert.
It's been out for a while now.
Oh, fine. Way to shit on my parade. Thanks you. Thanks. Now I'm not going to talk about music because you ruined it for me. Now it's my crush.
Come on, go ahead. It's first concert.
Yeah, so the next concert I go to, if it's just one person, I'm going to be like, where's the rest of them?
There's always...
where's the rest of them?
There's always one.
It's the High Hopes Tour. It was Ontario. And the people we were with, Ice Cube has his own strain out.
Oh, shit. As he should. You know, Cypress Hill, B-Rail's got his own.
Of course, yep.
Of course.
Duh.
He's got multiple dispensaries in the Orange County area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dr. Green Thumbs. So we were walking out, we were leaving, and there's a big, gigantic cutout of Ice Cube holding a string. Mm-hmm. Certain people we were with walked out with it. I get to the door, and this lady says, "You can't take that." And one of my friends was like, no, it's cool. Ice Cube said it was all right. And you know what?
The lady let you.
You know what?
The
We got it home. It was funny.
That's what's up.
So, yeah, I also got a new driver on Friday.
All right. Look at you.
First couple hits were terrible. Almost threw it in the water, but I got used to it. And yeah, that was my weekend. Today I went to Hemet, saw the folks.
Serious weekend, huh? Took a special guest to Hemet, huh?
Yeah, the concert too.
Yeah. Whoa.
Well, she took me to the concert, I guess.
Hey, wow.
But,
so, not to
break any hearts.
But
I'm off the market, ladies. I apologize.
Been off the market, but this one is serious. We are in a very different position.
Yes.
Today than we were 30 to 60 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
My man is taking this serious. Kudos.
So anyway,
I went to a concert myself.
Hey.
Very nostalgic concert. It was Smashing Pumpkins and Jane's Addiction.
Ooh, good ones.
Right? These guys, man, it was super nostalgic though, man.
That's how this concert was.
I didn't realize how many Smashing Pumpkin songs were gonna like take me back to the late 90s.
Bro,
holy shit.
I'll tell you, certain songs they started playing at this concert.
Oh, I bet.
I was sitting down at some point and I was just like, oh my goodness, let me get up.
Hey, I mean, I would have been over there like, taking it back to that gangbang day, the era.
I'll tell you right now, check my Insta story.
Yeah.
That was crazy, man. But it was fun.
Yeah. Dude, concerts are always fun. Lately I've been, past what? I'd say almost 20 years. Been going to concerts with the wife. And me and her are like two kids. We go over there and drink as much as we can and fucking go ham. And this was no different. We're out there, again, Jane's Addiction, Smashing Pumpkins.
I can admit that
Today is the greatest. Go ahead.
Oh, that was a song?
Yeah, that was one of the songs.
I can say that for 41 years I had a streak of no concerts. Now I'm a little upset that I've never been.
This is
but
first.
But if I can
go to more.
All right, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah,
definitely gonna go. But I ain't going to no shit that I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like, like I'm not gonna go to like punk shows or anything like that because I have no idea what that is.
Right.
And
I wouldn't dream of.
But
there is a reggae festival coming up. You with the reggae?
Sure. Babylon Fish gonna be there?
No.
Oh, remember those dudes at O'Malley's?
Hey, Babylon Fish. Hey, they were pretty awesome.
I'm sure they changed their name. They changed their name in 2 weeks when we were there like 7 times.
They did.
I was like, bro, what do you guys
they performed at the homie Rich's pad. You know that, right?
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they did. They performed at his pad.
Yeah.
Anyway, shout out to Rich, man. Jane's Addiction, Smashing Pumpkins, we had a ball. Poppy was the opening act. Some new alternative act. This girl Poppy, she is the epitome of everything 90s alternative rock. Right? Every band, she had a sound. She had a song that sounded like every specific band. So it was awesome.
You know what I will say about all these guys from the 90s when we were in school are wildly out of shape now.
Yeah.
Bro, I saw Exhibit. I was like, damn. Bro, what happened, dude?
That beard.
Used to be jacked, that dude.
But
you know what else hurt? You know what else hurt bad? It was they stopped after the Dog Pound was done. They stopped. Corrupt's wife came out and said, "Well, we want to do a special thing. It's like double, triple platinum Dog Pound CD, right?" And then she said, "Also, we want to go ahead and say that today's Corrupt's 50th birthday, and I was like, damn,
God damn.
I'm old as fuck.
God.
Like, Corrupt is 50. So that means when I was 16, homie was 26, right?
I got a chance to party with Corrupt one night.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, it was awesome, man.
I mean, so Cube still looks all right. Be Real is the same, but Exhibit, Sugar Free, god damn.
Oh, Sugar Free, bro. My man's had too many kegs.
I gotta tell you that out of all of them, Sugar Free was the most brutal on the mic. Like the absolute. He's like, you better step the fuck up. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Oh
shit!
Like,
and I was like, first I was like,
it was like, is that Sugar Free?
oh, that's Sugar Free.
What's that Mexican dude?
It ain't Sugar Free. What you been eating? But it was.
Is that Sugar Free or Kid Frost?
I was like, is that what the hell? You ain't eating no Sugar Free donuts, homie.
He ate Sugar Free.
Yeah, he looked like a dude that ate Sugar Free. But he was.
Cloudy, we just cloudy, yo.
But he was. I didn't realize that I knew as many Sugar Free songs.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's this dude in front of us when Sugar Free came out. He lost his freaking mind. But
nostalgia, man.
Yeah, it was something to say because Shelby was like, "I've never seen you like that before."
Oh
I was
shit!
like, "What are you talking about?" She said, every song that came on, you'd like jump out of your seat and be like, "Ah!"
Hey, you play some. Hey, you think that's Shelby? You think that's something? Play some '90s R&B. Oh, it's a rap. My man.
Done.
Play some Boyz II Men. Play some Jodeci in front of him.
We had a little
play some Color Me Bad.
music game last week. You and I.
Yeah.
And he thought he was gonna stump me.
He beat the snap
with some. What was your answer to one of them?
Music
It was
trivia.
the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
What the hell?
It was like. Who was it? Anyway, it was like a pretty famous song, and he was like, "What'd you say?" Gloria Estefan. That's what he said.
That's what it was.
And it wasn't even fucking close. It wasn't even close.
One of these days. One of these days.
Oh, it was Pebbles.
One of these days we'll play the game for you, man.
It was Pebbles.
We'll play the game.
It was a song by Pebbles. He's like, "Oh,
Gloria Estefan."
that's Gloria Estefan." And I was like, "What in the hell just happened?"
No, it wasn't even Pebbles. It was somebody else too. It was a dude, I think.
No. It was. It was Pebbles.
No, it wasn't Pebbles. I chose a Pebbles song that you couldn't name. Anyway,
he chose Gloria Estefan.
Yeah, I said Gloria Estefan.
I was like, bro, that's Lionel Richie.
He was laughing. She's like, that's the Macarena. I'm like, what on earth?
I was like, that's Alan Jackson. What do you mean, Gloria Estefan?
Anyway, fantastic weekend, man. Well, we brought you more of the ranting from the doorman. And look, we hope to guide your thoughts. Thought process is absolutely important to us. We hope it becomes important to you. We hope you utilize it.
Even if you say
steer the course.
Those assholes, the doorman, and you talk about it, you're talking about it. Cause what do you always say? If we're coming out your mouth,
we're on your mind, and that's just what happens. And with that, we out.
We gone.